Hi everyone, Mr. Z here from EnglishAid.net. I received a message from one of my students asking what's the difference between an adverb and an adjective and really how to use them in a sentence. So in order to help her, I thought I would make this video and hope it helps you too. Today's topic is the 5 most important rules for using adverbs and adjectives in a sentence. Let's start with a review. What is an adjective? An adjective is a word or set of words that describes a noun or pronoun. Adjectives often come before the word that they describe, but we will also look at some examples when they can come afterwards too. Examples of an adjective before the word they describe. That is a hungry puppy. Now, puppy is the noun being described as being hungry. So hungry is the adjective that describes the puppy. Let's look at one more. She has smart study skills. So you ask yourself, what here is smart? Well, it's the woman's study skills. So again, hungry and smart goes before the thing that's being described. First sentence is puppy. Second sentence is study skills. Let's keep going. Here are some examples of adjectives that come after the word that they describe. That puppy looks hungry. And her study habits are smart. Again, almost the same sentence as before, but now we've reversed where we place the adjective. As you can see here, hungry and smart are at the end. Now let's go on to adverb. What is an adverb? An adverb is a word or set of words that describes verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Adverbs answer how, when, where, why, or to what extent, such as how often and how much. We use words like daily and completely. Here are examples of adverbs. He speaks quickly. Notice how quickly determines and denotes or shows how the person speaks. He speaks quickly. Next, she arrived this morning. Notice that this morning shows when. He will arrive in a week. Again, when, talking about the future. Let's go inside. So this adverb inside shows the reader where. Here are some more examples of adverbs. We looked in the attic. Here, where? Bernie left to avoid punishment. The word punishment allows us to understand why Bernie left. George works out strenuously. Means to what extent George works out. Now here is rule number 1. Many adverbs end in ly, but many do not. So I'm going to teach you how to determine when to put an ly at the end and when you don't need it. Let's go on to some examples. She knits quickly. So knitting is the action of, making a scarf or a hat or a blanket, something. And so this person knits quickly. So you ask yourself, well, how does she knit? It's quickly. So we need to add ly. Now let's look at the next example. She is a quick knitter. Now this time we are not describing the process or the action that's happening. We're describing the person. Quick is an adjective describing the knitter, the person doing the knitting. So no ly is attached. Let's show one more. She runs fast. Fast answers the question how, so it is an adverb. But fast never has an ly attached to it. So this is an exception that you need to know. We never have fast plus ly. Let's look at one more example. They behaved badly. Here we add ly because badly describes the behavior. Now, rule number 2. Determine if an adverb needs ly by understanding who is doing the action. Flowers smell sweet. Now, I'm the one saying this because I'm the one who actually was smelling the flowers, We know that flowers don't have noses and they're not smelling. So we don't add ly. So you ask yourself, do the flowers actually do the smelling? And in this case, no, because flowers don't have a nose. We did the smelling, so we don't use ly. Let's use another example now. I think you'll get it after this one. To us, the referee looked angry. Notice here there's no ly. We ask ourselves, did the referee look with his own eyes, or are we describing his appearance? In this case, we are describing the appearance because it says to us, which means in our opinion. He appeared angry, so no ly. Here's another example. The boy looked angrily at the bad grade. Now again, who's doing the action? Here the boy actively looked, used his own eyes, so the ly is added. Rule number 3. The word good is an adjective whose adverb equivalent is well. What does that mean? Let's have a look deeper into this. Here, you wrote a good paper. Notice that good is an adjective that describes paper. Good describes the paper. Next, you wrote the paper well. What that means is well answers how the paper was written. Here, you look good today. Now, you look good today, we're talking about on the exterior. So maybe you like the person's shirt or their hat or something that you can see and oftentimes touch, okay? On the exterior, they look good today. Now, good describes the person's appearance. And last one, you look well for someone with a fever. Now, notice here how I use the word well, and it is talking about someone with a fever, which means that it's their health or their well-being. Now, I want you to remember this sentence as we go on to step number 4. Here, step number 4 is, or rule number 4, excuse me, the word well can be an adjective too when referring to health or well-being. All right, so now let's look at this example. You don't look very well today. Now, if someone says well, we know that we're talking about the person's inside, how they're feeling inside, not how they're looking outside. Okay. Now, the other person might respond with, you're right, I don't feel well today. Now, if someone said, you don't look good today, we're talking about on the exterior, their t-shirt or their hair, their hat, something that you can see and, like I said, oftentimes touch. Whereas if you use well, like you don't look well today, or you do look well today, we're talking about they probably feel well from the inside because maybe they're having a smile or their skin looks nice, but it's coming from within. Now, rule number 5, adjectives come in 3 different forms. We have positive, comparative, and superlative. Now, let's have a look at the first example, fast, faster, and fastest. Notice that the positive is the root word fast. Comparative, faster, is what you use to describe 2 things, people, or places. And then the superlative is fastest when you add est, when you have 3 or more things, places, or people. Now you have good, better, and best. So not always do you add er or est. And then you have bad, worse, and worst. And then at the end, the last example says efficient, more efficient, and most efficient. Now, some words in English, we just don't add er or est at all, and we have to put more for the comparative if it's just 2 things, people or places, or most if there are more than 3 people, places, or things. Now, remember, when you're comparing 2 things, always use the comparative form. Usually we add er. If there's no er to add, you add more. Here's an example. She is the brighter of the 2 ladies. Here, brighter means smart. Now, we would never use brightest in this example because we're only talking about 2 ladies. If there were 3 or more ladies, we could use the word brightest. However, here we've got to use just er, brighter, because there's only 2. Now, good and well, I know that there's a lot of confusion in the air about when to use good and when to use well. We've already talked about it a little bit, but we can expand on it here. So good and well can be tricky to know when to use correctly. Remember that good is an adjective and well is mostly used as an adverb. Here's an example. She is a good singer. So good here is an adjective that's describing the designer. Oop, did I just say singer? I don't know why I read it like that. She is a good designer. So good here is describing the designer. It's as an adjective. Let's have a look at the next example. She designs well. Now we're using well as an adverb. Let's keep going. This good verse well. Sometimes we talk about someone's health or well-being, as we mentioned a couple slides back. We use well as an adjective. Let's have a look at this short conversation, this little dialogue. Person A says, "How is your uncle feeling today?" And person B responds, "He's feeling well, thanks." So again, if you're using well because it makes sense for health and wellness, we know that's from the inside. And everyone, I hope this clarified the differences between the adjectives and the adverbs. And if you have any other questions about the English language or American culture, just write down below in the comment your question, your response. And if you liked the video, please do like it. And if you want to see more, show me by subscribing to the channel. All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching. You can visit me at englishaid.net. Again, my name is Mr. Z, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.